All right, welcome back to episode.
Did you just start recording?
Yes. What episode are we on? 24?
We're on episode 23.
I thought we already did 23.
No, we did 22.
All right, welcome to episode 23.
No.
I don't know.
All right, check that. What's on the notes? You have it on the notes, right?
I did.
It's marked
but
as episode 23.
I don't have.
well, last time, Jackson, you said something about, I'm feeling 22. Yeah, because last week
I
was
was on
22.
Avenue Q.
Yeah, because we weren't 21 pilots anymore. We still aren't. We're 23 pilots.
All right, so we're episode 23.
Yeah, sorry. Long way around. Yes, we are.
All right, welcome to episode 23 of No One Asked You.
I'm Andrew.
Oh, man.
I'm Josh.
I'm Jackson.
Soundman Jackson.
I'm Soundman. You tripped me up, guys. I don't know who I am anymore.
That's Andrew.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
Jackson.
Andrew.
I'm Josh.
For an audio recording,
I'm just
pointing as well.
I don't know why I'm yelling.
So, I don't know. Hey, welcome to the show. We're excited. We had some technical difficulties, and sorry, I am banging on the table. I'll
pretty
stop doing
much
it.
because I don't know how to work computers.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not that. We were also, we've learned numerous times that Soundman, actually, it's not even Soundman Jackson. We've done plenty of episodes without Soundman Jackson. Well, the real MVP right now of our podcast is my laptop.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
I'm very close to getting my new one. So.
Okay.
I need a new one.
Yeah, you brought in your laptop because my laptop was being used by Soundman Jackson on a separate project. And we thought we could record on yours. Didn't work out.
Yeah, I've been editing photos on this thing. It's a piece of junk. Every time I go into Lightroom and I'm like, I'm going to do this batch thing here. Also, I'm going to open up another page, do this here while that does it. My computer's just like, no, you're not. I'm going to break.
How old is your laptop? It's a Samsung. I'm thinking about going all Samsung everything.
We're not GE anymore, Lemon. We sold to E to Samsung. They're Samsung now.
I love 30 Rock. We still need to do a 30 Rock show. But how did you like your Samsung laptop?
I mean, it's fine. It's good.
How
I got
old
it
is
at best a couple years, 3.
This is 2 years old, so this is still operating better than this.
Well, yeah.
You just told me that basically I should stick with Apple.
I don't know. I'm not the best.
I'm going to get an
thing.
Asus, and I'm very excited.
Dude,
about it.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't treat this thing very great. I treated it all right.
Okay.
I did the same to my old MacBook though, and it lasted like 5 years, which was
Yeah.
like a long time for a MacBook.
All right, we're learning one thing here. Either I'm really abusive to my electronics, or
maybe.
Samsung makes terrible computers.
Maybe because you're not used to using your computer for audio things. You just didn't know how to work it because that's.
Are you
Jackson,
saying I'm
and I-
bad at podcasting?
Yes, I'm saying you're bad at podcasting.
How dare you?
That's why we're still like the lowest
Hey,
podcasting India.
no one asked you, Andrew. No one.
So, all right, let's move on. Josh, how has your week been, man? What's going on in your world? It's been
Nothing.
Actually, I've barely seen you this week. Did you work out on Tuesday? No, I missed you on the day. Actually, I went to work out at the same time you normally work out.
No.
You weren't there.
I went Wednesday because Monday they were closed. Tuesday I didn't make it in. Wednesday I went, and then Thursday I didn't make it in.
Yeah,
and
so
then I
haven't
made it
seen
in Friday.
So what's going on in your world, man?
So basically, like I've been editing photos and trying to been.
It's been that wedding photo. You took that wedding.
Yeah, and
You took photos of the
basically,
wedding, and then-
I'm hitting this point where my workflow was like really bad because I was just like really. It's tough sometimes, like doing this and thinking like. As soon as you take like 3,500 photos, you're like, what if none of these are usable? Oh God, what if, and like I went through them, I've got them all set aside, and I was going through the folder. I was like, wow, I'm actually pretty proud of a lot of these. Like, I'm really proud of these actually. Like, I'm pretty happy with it. And just kind of workflow, like reading up on stuff. It's been a learning experience of like making it quicker. Just going like, this isn't like a thing that takes a couple days. You could get this done in a couple hours effectively.
Can I ask you both a question about photography?
Sure.
Okay. So as someone who hires photographers, what is a reasonable amount of time for them to do their edits and have photos back to you?
Depends on the size of the project.
Depends on the size of the project, and it depends on if it's somebody who is like, this is their full-time gig or if this is their part-time gig.
Now, hypothetically, say we have a situation where you hire somebody to take portraits with a set lighting in front of a set backdrop for, say, 2 hours.
Okay.
And they take 500 photos. Realistically, they could edit that probably the next day and be done because you can just batch edit that all in Lightroom very easily. I mean...
But if you're one of 15 clients they shot that day and one of
correct
over 100 they shot.
But I mean, in a small area like this, you probably won't run into.
As a consumer,
like that.
what I'm hearing is I need to be patient because one of the things I run into is when I hire photographers for different events or things that I do, sometimes it just feels like weeks or even up to months before I even see the
Months
finished product.
is unacceptable. Weeks
Really?
might
Okay.
be the case.
Yeah, weeks.
Okay.
Weeks should be the normal thing.
Okay.
If it's a big project, weeks.
Which
but
makes
months
sense.
is unacceptable no matter what size it is.
Josh, I've always been really happy with the work you've done for me, but I've also always have taken it immediately after the event is
the
done.
one time I was going to edit, ironically enough, I had to not take any more photos because I think you were getting shut down or something, or basically they were like,
the Halloween event.
That was last
was a
year.
mess.
Oh,
that
we don't
was,
need to talk about the Halloween event.
And I have apologized. Did I apologize? That wasn't
Yeah.
even me.
It wasn't anybody here's fault, but we all kind of got burned by.
That was out of my control, and the higher ups came and just they did what they had to do, and I completely understand. But it was frustrating. I get
Yeah.
that.
Oh no, I've moved on past that.
Yeah. Well, good. It's been a year.
Just sitting in my room. Just can't believe these pieces of garbage did this to me. One day I'll make them pay. Just putting on my Punisher outfit.
You know what's really funny? I still have your flash drive from that, and it's in my room on my desk, and I keep looking at it and be like, I need to take that to Josh, and then I don't.
Yeah, it's not like you see me once a week.
Anyway, I didn't mean to.
No, I don't.
sidetrack
I see you
Thank for
4
answering
times
that.
a
I was
week.
just wondering because, like, right now,
No, that's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, we brought in a guy to take some photos for our
Nerd.
gym because we're working on website stuff, and it's taken. We're up to a month now, I believe, since we've seen
How many photos did he take?
like 150.
He should have been done in a week.
Oh, easily.
The
Because
fact
you're
that he-
asking for a website, and they're not all necessarily set. There's going to be different lighting because of the setting.
He's not doing
But
anything
he's not going to
complicated.
take every single one of those and give them to you. He's going to pick the best ones out of those, which we're talking 15, 20 photos.
I don't know if it's 150.
He's going to take about 30 seconds
It was like 1 day's worth of shooting, and I don't know what that really means.
No, I remember. The fact of the matter is, photos like that, most people think of like editing photos as something really rigorous. Most of the time, it's just simple color corrections, and you might need to crop it, or maybe you'll adjust the angle of the photo. Like if the photo was taken and it looks crooked, you can very simply just have Photoshop tilt the
Okay.
photo so it
Yeah.
looks like it's on a flat plane. It's like basic editing.
You can draw a line of like, this is the horizon, and it goes, okay, and
Gotcha.
it fixes it.
It's
like,
so easy.
Okay.
The color correction is just like you need to know what to do.
hail Adobe!
Oh my Jesus! Yes, I love.
See, this guy's been using MS Paint to edit photos.
You didn't hire a photographer. You hired a kindergartner. Holy God. If somebody's like, I'm having trouble editing these photos, I'm like, cool, just open up the program. He opens up MS Paint. I'd be like, kill him! Kill him!
Kill him with fire!
Burn the witch!
Dude, I grew up just playing with MS Paint.
Oh,
man,
GIMP is fine.
it was so funny. All right. Anyway, Josh, I didn't mean to. cut you
No,
off.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, if he's taking a month for 150 photos for basic color corrections, something
On
is
MS Paint.
wrong. On MS Paint. No, Photoshop is or Lightroom is even easier. You just go, oh, look, I took 150 photos. Da, 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 da. Half an hour, I'm done.
I would be interested to see if he is using, because I know this individual, I would be interested to see if he is using Adobe programs, or if not, what he is using.
You might just be using like really
Listeners,
basic
if you
Windows
happen to
or
know who we're talking about, and
iPhoto.
word gets back to him, we're not talking crap. We're just
wondering.
we're just discussing about the
Things that make you go,
the photography industry.
Yeah.
So more power to you, buddy. If you're hearing this, keep doing what you're doing. We're just waiting on those photos.
Wow, that felt really passive aggressive. 1 second, let me
I
spell
got
out
projects, man. I gotta move
native
on.
translation incoming. Get good. Anyways, long way around again. Been editing. Meant to get to the fact that I've been still watching a ton of Doctor Who. Finished Matt Smith. Super sad I did because he's fantastic.
He's
So was
great.
I. Eccleston. Dave, so my guitar teacher, Dale Groff, I'd been talking to him like, I'm about to finish Smith. I really love him. I'm going to blah, blah. And he's like, you need to watch Capaldi. And he compared Capaldi to House, like House MD.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, and like, so I'm watching it, and I realized like I didn't like Capaldi from what I'd seen at first because like I saw the glimpses of like, oh, Sonic Ray-Bans, but like watching him starting out, I actually really like because it's like he's like this very different Doctor. He's like this very cynical.
Oh, he's very different.
Yeah.
And I like him, but I feel like the adventures around him and the gimmicks they give him upset me.
Okay, you have a point. Here's the thing. I feel like The adventures, like the time heist one, could have been really good. It was pretty decent. Some of the adventures, like the listen episode, I felt more annoyed than anything else at the end of it.
Which one was that again?
The one where it's like, oh, what if there are things that must never be seen?
Oh,
And,
okay,
like,
okay.
It turned
Yeah.
out that they gave you no good resolution. That bothered me. But overall, I actually really like Capaldi so far. I'm willing to keep going. The stories around him are kind of meh, especially coming off that Matt Smith thing of like, wow, this is all so good together. Like there's this interwoven thing, but these characters have really good dynamics and you just really feel like it all matters. And oh man, what are they going to do next week? The problem isn't the doctor, it's Clara.
I've never thought of that.
And honestly, you mentioned that this morning at the workout, and I can see very clearly why. What happened is they failed it in the writing. The point of the companion has always been to give us a relatable character to ride along in the adventures with.
Yeah.
Somebody relatable that I can be like, oh, this is a normal person. That could be me.
Mm-hmm.
Clara Oswald became a superhero.
Yeah.
Because she was the
Who could-
impossible girl.
She was the impossible girl who defeated death over and over again. It made her completely untouchable from a relatability standpoint. And so it ruined that aspect.
I never thought of that.
Well, here's the thing,
And that's
too.
really what it did.
Oh
It
my
became
God.
like,
Jackson and I,
of course Clara's a hero, but she's going to come back because she's the impossible girl.
well, Jackson and I, we discussed this a little before, but the issue is like with the pawns, they were able to go, let's just put them in situation X and let's ride around that and see what happens. Like they are able to put them in situations and go, look at how these characters are going to work around this. What happens here? What happens here? What happens here? Which is like, it was really organic and it felt great. And you really grew to care about those characters. Like I love the pawns. They were my favorite. I used to think Donna Noble was
But
my favorite.
that's why I love
companion.
Rory, because he's so
Gotta be
relatable.
The pawns are the best.
Yeah.
It's one of the core, if you ever look at, there's an image that floats around online. I love it. It's like the 23 core storytelling rules from Pixar.
Right.
And one of them is like, your main character, you need to understand your few, like 2 or 3 boiled down to their essence, core things of who they are. Now throw that into a situation completely contrary to it, and what happens?
Yes.
And that's what they did with the pawns over again. That's what they did with Rory over and over and over.
yeah.
Because
love
he was just
that.
like, I'm just a bloke trying to live my life. Oh no, I'm being fired at an alien insane asylum.
And that's
like,
why you
Yeah,
loved him,
oh,
'cause
no,
he would rise to the
I just
occasion
punched
and
Hitler
overcome.
in the face.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't know you could ride a motorcycle. It's just been that day.
It's been that kind of day.
It's kind of like why Riversong was never really a companion. I mean, she was.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
she was always like,
She
tagged
never
on.
became a companion for that reason.
Right. So when you put Clara in that situation.
Clara is like what River
ruined
would've-
it.
Yeah, because she wasn't relatable. You put her into situations, and it wasn't like, oh, what happens here with Clara with these interesting situations? It was more like she was there to be like, oh, Clara's here too. Why is she the
And even her, okay, spoiler alert, but even with her send off, she's a dead girl stuck in time, but she's able to. Wait, have you seen this part yet?
I haven't finished Capaldi yet.
All right, never mind. We'll talk about that later. Sorry. I don't want to ruin that for you.
Okay,
Dang.
well, the thing is, like she just, I never watch an episode and go like, I really care. Like they never like with the pawns, they don't spend a ton of time with like, oh, these are their parents, this is their backstory, which is
Right.
fine, but you still feel like you've been with them for a long time and you understand
But you
their
see the drama
journey.
of their engagement, their marriage.
I think
their
one of the best
jealousies.
things they could have done, or one of the best things they did with the Smith ones, is they make it span a long period of time where they're his companions, and they kind of don't make you realize it.
Right.
Well, and it's also just, companions relating back all the way through, even through the old series, they were always just normal people. What that gave us as viewers was a towing hitch, somewhere where we could hook ourselves onto this story and be pulled along for the ride.
And that's what they
Because
did really
that-
well with the pawns, like you just said, because when you watch all the companions of the David Tennant series, it seems like this is what's happening this week, next. It's all very linear.
Yeah.
But when you're talking to the pawns, you come to find out, like Amy will be like, "Where is he in time?" She's like reading a book, and then
Yeah,
it'll
what
be
if-
like
yeah,
300 or
where-
400 years for him since he's last seen them. Well, for them, it's only been like a day or two. But there's these
And we
huge
ride along
gaps.
with their timeline and we
Right.
view it from their perspective.
Right.
And you can, and it's not even just them. It's how they reflect back onto the Doctor. Like I love when it's one of their later episodes where Amy's like, why do you keep coming back to us? He's like, because you're the first face this face ever saw. I love that. That's so
It's powerful.
and he's like, they matter to him. It's not like watching like the other companions that lasted maybe a season, you know? Like with the pawns, you could tell like and I love that like they're like Rory's last name is not Pond, but he's like the Pawns, and he's like, that's not how it is. He's like, the doctor's like, yes it is. And Rory's just like, yes it is. It's like, we're not her boys.
But see,
okay, we're her boys.
Even the companions that came before the Pawns succeeded in being normal enough people that we were able to hitch along for the ride. They
Rose was
completely ruined it.
Rose was just a shop girl.
Rose was just a shop girl. When she became like the embodiment of all of time and space, that was towards the end of her timeline, right?
That was the end of
I'm not
season one.
complaining about Rose.
Right.
I'm just saying like she was a dated companion, like good in her time, but like you look back now and like the clothes and everything, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, but
that's not that big of a deal.
that's
I know it's not.
I don't see it as criticism because it did it for the time it came out.
And even like Donna Noble, she was really annoying. She was just an annoying person.
I liked
No,
Donna
I don't
Noble.
mean like she was annoying to me, but she's portrayed as like most of like when she was getting married, right? When you first meet her, people can't stand her. That's why she's like in her 30s. She's never been married and all these things. So I almost said she's super relatable because I'm in my 30s and I'm not very. I can't talk anymore. I'm hurt.
Andrew's going to be in bed in the middle of the night, and I'm just going to walk up to his window and start playing the TARDIS sound just to get his hopes up. Yeah. Just get a big old stereo and stand outside his window.
Just backed myself into that one. But just going with your premise of the idea that Clara is not relatable, that Clara is the reason why Doctor Who doesn't work at the moment. I agree with that.
And it was at the fault of the writing. The writers put too much on the companion. The point of the companion is to give us a hitching point.
So
it felt like you're watching.
That makes me want to go and watch the last series because they had that new companion, and I still haven't seen that yet.
But one of them is an emotionless alien, right?
I don't know that. And one is a black lesbian.
Yeah, but I mean, she's a more normal-ish type person.
Okay. No, I'm just saying.
But then her send-off is also kind of weird.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
I thought she was coming back.
If that's supposed to be how we are connecting with this again as a normal person, then I want to watch. I want to give it a try because Clara, I haven't seen anything since Clara's send off and the Doctor gets his sonic screwdriver back again.
Basically, I'm enjoying it. It's rough because you're right. The stories seem very Clara-centric to a point where it's not enjoyable. Because even in the stories where like the pawns were important, like the greater story still took precedence over them. It overrode them to a degree. Like in the the Hungry Earth episodes where like the reptiles and everything. Like you've got the story about Amy and Rory and like all that stuff, and like we need to get Amy back. At the same time, the story about like these lizard people trying to take over the world is definitely more important. It's just that it knows how to blend this interpersonal and grand scale story together to make it like all matter to the same degree.
But then, even then, from the Hungry Earth storyline, we have the reoccurring character, the lizard lady.
Yeah, exactly.
But she never becomes a companion, and she becomes invaluable to the Doctor because she's able to.
I don't think that's the same lady. I think that's a different lizard lady.
Well, it's one from the same like storyline though. It's one of those lizard ladies.
Really, I thought it was a different one.
I think it is a different one. I have to go back and watch it, but
pretty sure it was just a lizard. Like, because like Strax wasn't from anything either. The Centauran,
right?
Like, I think it was just a lizard lady.
But she's from that same like backstory though.
Yeah.
But the point being that
Silurian, sorry.
Yeah, she's a Silurian, but she never became a companion, right?
Right.
Even though she is. Honestly, she speaks to the Doctor in certain episodes in ways more than a companion really could.
Right.
In certain episodes, but she never rides along for all the stories because she wouldn't have been, the way they wrote that character, it wouldn't have been as relatable to us.
No, it wouldn't have been. Basically, like, I keep going the long way around. I've just been watching a lot of Doctor Who lately, and I've been really enjoying it, and I've really been enjoying like thinking over like, why doesn't this work? What's good? What did work? You know? But, you know, that's my week, I guess. Jackson, what have you been up to?
It's been a crazy week. I had a lot of projects on my plate and very little time. And then on top of it, someone tried to steal all my money this week.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I got one of those random automated...
How much money is all your money?
I got one of those automated calls.
What's your social security number?
I got one of those automated calls Monday night that was just like, we have detected false charges on the account. What's your zip code? Put your zip code on the phone. And I just hung up. And it was weird because it went into my dad's phone. It actually called my dad's phone, and my dad was like, "This is weird." So we just hung up. And then
Turns out real call.
yeah, but it was an automated machine.
I think I've had fiber call me on something like that before.
I called them the next day because I didn't want to get scammed. So I called them the next day and said, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, "Yeah, it was after hours, so it was our machine, but there are some false accounts." It was like a $150 purchase at a Walmart. Someone tried to stay at like a hotel way out of town. And then like this random Fred Meyer purchase of like over $100. And I went, so basically we went over like this.
Was that all like local?
It must not have been if it triggered it.
Okay.
And so, but then like, because this week I've been in and out of the bank a few times, and one time I did ask like, "Hey, were those out of town?" And the teller I was talking to said, "I don't have access to be able to see where they were," but I don't imagine they would have flagged unless they were out of town, because we do have a Walmart and a Fred Meyer in town. But yeah, we got it all sorted, but I don't have a debit card right now because we had to freeze my old one. It looks like someone made a duplicate card, made what they call a clone card.
Okay.
That's
and
nuts.
then tried to charge that.
I've always heard of that kind of stuff, but like, you know, you just think like,
Dude.
Well, that's why I have this wallet, dude. Have you seen those portable readers?
You think it was mine doesn't have chip though. Mine's not chipped.
mine's chipped.
Oh, really?
My card's not chipped.
Okay.
Weird.
Huh.
So I don't know how that. So
Yeah. I guess for our listeners, like at one point in time, I was told that like especially our chips, or it's not even. It doesn't even have to be chipped. Some of these, like before the chip even came out, there were a couple of debit cards that when they started doing the touch and go,
Yeah.
that was before the actual chip.
mine doesn't do that either.
Okay, some of them had the ability to do that without the chip before, and so people would be walking around like big cities with like a computer and like a little thing, and they would walk by you
And they
and
could
scan like
use a magnet or whatever.
yeah, and just scan your card, and it would have information. That's why like the wallet I have is RFID proof, like supposedly it is, so it keeps in this container, so it jams up whatever frequencies that people try to scan that with. I don't know, like I try to take precautions for that stuff, but actually you say that, and it was about 2 weeks ago. I got a call from our local bank. So the church I work for, they have given me a credit card in the name of the church. And so it allows me to make purchases and stuff for whenever I need to do that for church-related things. And I got this call saying like, "Hey, there's some questionable activity on your card. We just have to ask you a few questions so we know what's going on." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. What's going on?" They're like, "When was the last time you were in Kentucky?" I'm like, "Never." And they're like, "All right, then never mind. We're done." I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" They're like, "Well, supposedly you tried to buy $150 worth of liquor in Kentucky." And I'm like,
what's with this $150 thing? Is like, is there like some sort of cult of people who steal cards? They're like $150 of booze for the booze guy.
I wonder if that's under
debt
a certain
god.
amount that would trigger some type of thing at a bank. It's like when people
God,
are trying
it's
to
almost as
transfer
if
lots
people
of
are
amounts
good
of
at
money,
this or
they do it
something.
in. It's like when people try to transfer large amounts of money, they do it in under amounts of $10,000, because as soon as it goes over $10,000,
That's interesting.
Raises certain flags.
There's a strategy.
I have a friend that works for like digital security. I should ask him, because I heard rumor that there are also computers out there that are randomizing like debit numbers.
Yeah.
Just like eventually they'll get something right, and so they just keep running these numbers.
That happened to me on eBay a while back, but it was a phishing program that just tried to pull information together, and my email got pulled into something, into this account that they tried to bid on something. And it was like 10 o'clock at night, and so I had to call like eBay customer support, but it wasn't my card. It wasn't my city they were registered as. They tried to buy a $400 bouncy house castle.
Dude, don't stop them. You need that.
No, but it was just my email address. It wasn't even like, so, because I'm talking to them, and they say, "What's my zip code?" And I give them my zip code, and goes, "Oh, that's nowhere close to where this account's registered as." It was the craziest thing.
Yeah, weird.
And so I think it was just a phishing program that it tried to grab this debit card number and this account and then this email and then this phone and just pull it with the idea of it being all the contacts are going to go to random places, so no one person's going to be able to tell what's going on. So at 10 p.m., I just happened to be up working on something, and then it just was like, "Thank you for your bid." I'm like,
What?
I don't want a bouncy house. I mean,
Thank
I
you
do
for
want a
your-
bouncy house, but I didn't buy a bouncy house.
Just eBay. Confirm your order of 20 Japanese body pillows.
Thanks, eBay.
What?
How do you know?
Yes?
I mean, 1, but not 20.
Hey, don't talk about my waifu like that. Oh, man.
So yeah, that was an interesting thing this week, having my account trying to be hacked and all my money stolen. But then
Not so subtle interlude. What you listening to?
I started listening to post rock again this week.
Yeah, what's that?
Last
King of
week.
jazz.
So
Is that like rock and roll but later?
it's just normal rock.
Why
and roll
don't they
songs,
just
but
call
put-
that later rock?
No.
Can we start a new genre called later rock?
Yes, it's like post rock, but all we do is copy people and then call it like original. Like, no, it's later rock. It's not the same.
No, it's just cover bands of classic rock bands. So it's just later on.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
No, but post rock is hard to describe. It's this really, it's focused a lot on dynamics and storytelling in the way the music's written instead of the lyrics. On the whole, they
So is
would
it kind
say-
of like opera?
No, it's instrumental.
But what I mean by that, like
not strictly.
not strict.
from a
not
narrative
strictly.
from a narrative perspective, right? Like classic opera, there's a story going along with me, so there's different dynamics
But
to tell.
But they are relying on the words of the song to tell that
Post
story.
rock has
Post-rock.
like no vocalization to it. There's vocalization. There's no like. It's not. There's no words.
Okay.
Well, there's bands that have post rock elements like Mogwai that have lyricists, but the idea is being that you don't. That is not what drives the storytelling.
It's
or,
the music.
or the message. It's
Yeah.
the actual
The
like,
instrumentation.
the way things are orchestrated. A lot of times it's multiple melodies in a Baroque style that are counter melodying each other or
Okay.
all that stuff.
Time signatures. It's like if Tool were pop.
Oh, okay. That explains a lot
Minus
of
the
stuff.
lyrics for the most part. Like Mogwai is one. Have you ever listened to Tycho?
I haven't listened to Tycho. I was listening to a
Check
lot
'em out.
of This Will Destroy You, Explosions in the Sky, a lot of Caspian.
Oh yeah.
Love Caspian. Waking
Oh,
Season
yeah.
is life. But
Check out Tycho though. You'll like it.
I'll have to, and then I've been
Those are the
listening
people
to
that make the RC
uh,
cars, right? Tycho.
Yeah.
Another band with post-rock-ish elements that recently came out with a new album like this year is the band's called Daughter.
And your
Yeah.
band,
I love their Telegraphy, but they're not on Spotify.
Telegraphy was.
Telegraphy. Eric Nordine and the Telephones.
Yeah.
It was what someone
You guys
called
are
us once.
post rock, right?
Yeah, we were post-rock. That's how I was into it. So it was all really
Post-rock,
nostalgic listening
rock
to
and roll,
post-rock.
over it.
But yeah, it was
Post rock. Is that what you call it when you put it up on your Facebook? Post.
I don't like
rock,
that
'cause you posted
I
it.
know, I get
Get
it.
it?
I just don't feel like that was that funny.
That was funny. I'm funny. Acknowledge me.
It's been super fun and super nostalgic to listen through it. And the new Daughter album is just fantastic.
You showed me a song off that. It was
I
good.
showed you a song off of their old stuff.
what?
That was their old hit. Is what I showed
it was
you.
good.
Yeah, because I showed you Youth, right? The song Youth. Yeah, Youth by Daughter is a fantastic piece and a great example of post-rock with lyrics.
This is not to be confused with All Sons and Daughters.
All the Sons and Daughters or Daughtry. I've had people make that confusion.
Yeah.
Daughtry.
Yeah, they're like, you mean home? I'm like, no.
Like,
Yeah, but what if yes?
Do you remember Nicole?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she used to talk about Daughter all the time. But I got confused, and I thought she was talking about All Sons and Daughters. And I'm like, oh, I love them.
They're also really good, but
We were talking
not
about
at all
two
the
different
same.
bands.
They're also really good, but not at all the same.
Oh, it's like when people were, was that band Caspian? You were talking
Caspian,
about?
yeah, I've talked about
when
them.
you say Caspian, I think of Kasabian. I love Kasabian.
Oh, yeah, they're all right, too, yeah.
They're the one from England, right?
Maybe I don't remember, but every time you say Caspian, I'm always like, yeah, I love Kasabian.
A great example of post-rock is Caspian's song, I already mentioned it, Waking Season.
Yeah.
It's literally just a 5-minute build with no lyrics that builds to, and it just dies, and that's it. Like, that's all it is. And it's so, because the way they build and the way they layer and keep things building up and up and up, like, you can't help but feel like, and it's just the audio equivalent of emotional manipulation, and I'm fine with it.
It's like,
but it just builds you up so much that by the end of it, you're just like, I can build a mountain or a house or something. Like, let's do it. I get so emotionally invested.
I wish that were like somebody's motto. Just like, you'll get, like, listen to our album. You'll build a house or climb a mountain or something.
we should bring that into the gym. So next time you're working out, we're like, all right, let's play this song.
Well, it starts really low and slow, so I don't know if that would be a good idea.
It'll get there. That's what you like.
That's the motto of post-rock. It's really quiet. It'll get there.
Give it a second.
Give it
And
a
by
minute.
a second, I mean several minutes.
I mean, and one of the reasons you don't really hear post-rock on the radio is, on the whole, you don't find 3.5-minute post-rock songs.
No.
Like,
No, they're usually like 30 to
full-length
40
album
seconds, right?
I got to produce with my old band I used to tour, Telegraphy, like, a lot of the songs were like 9, 10, 11 minutes long. And, like, the outro or ending was, like, the last, like, 5 minutes.
Post rock is musicians going, what if we made music that wasn't for normal people?
Yeah.
But what if we just were
Or if you're
super
Mogwai.
self-placating?
Or if you're Mogwai, what if we made happy music for happy people? It's the name of one of their old albums.
I'll have to check these guys out.
Yeah.
Mogwai's all right. I would focus on Explosions in the Sky.
I have they're one of their albums. The Friday Night Lights one.
Yeah, they wrote for Friday Night Lights. They're by a lot of people considered to be kind of the grandfathers of post-rock. They didn't invent it, but they brought it to the forefront and brought it to a point that it could be consumed by larger audiences.
Just like Green Day bringing punk rock to the mainstream.
Yeah.
Did anybody else mad at that statement? No? Okay.
This will destroy you.
Green Day's not punk.
Love This Will Destroy You stuff. Especially
Green Day is the Leonard Skinner of punk.
I think the album's called I Am Mountain.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Or I don't know. It's the album with the drawing of the bear.
Oh, I thought I Am Mountain's also a Gungor song.
Maybe that's how I'm getting confused. But This Will Destroy You, the album with the bear on it. They just celebrated the 10th year anniversary last year of it being out. It's been out since 2006. But that album was fantastic. And Caspian, anything about Caspian really, but the Waking Season album is really solid. Yeah, really great stuff.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, Andrew.
Super subtle segue. Andrew, what's been going on in your week?
Speaking of, anyway, my week's been pretty good. Last recording, you guys challenged me to watch all 7 seasons of Game of Thrones to be prepared for this recording. But,
How'd that go?
Oh man, my eyes are bleeding.
How far are you?
So if we were supposed to have recorded Tuesday, by the time Tuesday rolled around, I was on season 4.
You were in the middle of season 4 at that point.
Season 4. And so this is what I did to watch it.
Oberyn Martell was the best, right?
Amazon. Yes. That's the torture guy, right?
No.
Don't worry.
No, the mountain. Is that the mountain?
No.
No, that's not the...
Oberyn Martell is the Viper. The mountain is Gregor
He's from
Clegane.
Dorne. Oberyn Martell's from
Okay.
Dorne.
We'll get to it next week.
All right, so we're not doing a Game of Thrones episode this week. We'll do one next week. I'm almost there. But I don't know. If you want to watch Game of Thrones, these are my tips for you.
Name all of the dire wolves right now, Andrew.
If you if you have Amazon Prime, you are eligible for HBO for free for 1 week. That's what I did. So, but I made the mistake of turning that on Tuesday when I wasn't going to start watching until Wednesday. So that was hard. Then, what's up?
No, go for it.
Okay. Then I know, like, I had to throw this out there because I know, like, there are people from the. What's up, Jackson? You were shaking those headphones. I was like, is that a sign for something? Is it a tambourine? Like, anyway, because I know there's like a bunch of people from, not a bunch, but there are people within the church that listen to Game of Thrones or this podcast, and they know what's up with Game of Thrones.
That's how
you
avoid the bad parts of Game of Thrones.
People are all like,
I just listen to it.
Yeah. They're like, I was trying to find a way to like, protect my
sounds
integrity.
Really mean.
Yeah. Protect my integrity without having to compromise like certain things. And so I subscribed to VidAngel, which actually that worked out really well for me. I don't know if you've ever heard of VidAngel, but if you're someone who cares about censoring certain things you don't want to see, you can customize censors. And what it does is it just goes into your Amazon account and you play through VidAngel, but it just uses your streaming services like Amazon or Netflix, and it censors things out for if you're wanting it family friendly or whatnot. But I will tell you this, the first 2 seasons, it consistently took out about 15 to 20 minutes.
I just want to say right now, I care not for decency and have watched all of it because it's so good.
All right.
So if you don't care about those things, bring on the filth.
Yeah, so I mean, to each their own. I'm just saying, like, if anybody out there is like, oh, I really wish I could watch Game of Thrones, but I don't want to, like, I just don't want, like, you just don't want to watch
understandable
stuff like that, then there are ways to be able to do it. So I signed up for VidAngel, it gives you a month for free. So then I hooked up my Amazon account to it, which gave me a week for free. I only got to like 4.5 seasons. Dude, it's a lot. It's a lot. I can't just like, normally when I binge things, I I'm working and I'm a computer up and I'm working on whatever.
Game of Thrones is not that kind of show.
Yeah, this is not the kind of show where you can have like it on in the background because every character goes on to do something important. So this guy will just come in out of nowhere, and I'm like,
what's the Onion Knight's name?
I don't know. God. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm watching this show, and I'm used to watching, like, I don't know, How I Met Your Mother, when they were like, there are 5 characters you got.
What's Robert Baratheon's bastard son named?
Robert Baratheon.
What's his bastard son named?
Is it? That's the Iron guy, right?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
The kid who makes the swords.
Yeah, he's a blacksmith.
You're on the right track.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
There.
Oh, we're gonna have to.
So that's the thing. There are too many. Like, so I'm gonna be straight up with you right now. I know you guys love Game of Thrones. It's all right.
But see, you're only like, where are you now?
Like, I'm still at 4. Because what I'm gonna say is like, I only got to like 1 week with it. I don't want to pay for an HBO subscription. But see, so what I've done is I found like I can get HBO Go for free for a month.
End of season 4 is when it gets like really good.
All right,
I would argue it's still really good. The whole
I still want to watch it,
except for season 3,
it's not. Season. It's better than Iron Fist, but it's not as good as like.
Save it for next week. Okay. I understand you don't like it as much as
I'm not saying I hate it. I'm not even saying that I don't like it. I'm just like, all right, I can see why people like it, but I'm not a fanboy of it.
You said it's better than Iron Fist, and Josh will understand this reference, and you will eventually. But in my head, I just hear Sir Braun going, "That's like saying I have a bigger you know what than the Unsullied army."
Actually,
if this were less family friendly, I'd just start quoting the Hound at you. If one more bleep word comes out of your bleep mouth, I'm gonna have to eat every bleeping chicken in this bleeping room. Family friendly to a degree.
Okay. As far as my week, I also found out that I'm not really a Doctor Who fan. We played that.
You're breaking my heart.
Trivia game, and apparently,
yeah, we all failed it.
I was gonna say, like, you didn't do that well. You only did well on the things that were like obvious.
You guys didn't know any of them, like Satan Pit. You guys weren't going to call that. I only had the advantage because I'd watched a bunch of the episodes.
Because you just recently watched it. But like that game was like, all right, on Doctor Who, there was like a third extra on this one scene. How many fingers did he have? Like that's like those are the kind of questions.
In episode 7 of season 14 in 1982, what color was the hair of the second unit director?
And remember, this was shot in black and white. Like. It was so specific.
Is it black or white? Wrong.
The worst ones were the ones where they'd like pick out an actor and then ask you about their career.
Yeah. That game was stupid.
Hey, so in this one episode it featured so-and-so. Which of these movies were they not in that from the 80s?
Hey, you know this obscure British actor? No? Okay, well, guess what? You're going to pretend like you do.
So, yeah, and one last thing. I'm actually really excited about this. I did this right before I came in here today. I registered to get my L1 certification for CrossFit. So I've already been kind of coaching at...
Is that the one that lets you talk about it all the time without a license?
No, that's just signing up.
Oh. No, but
you guys are licensed to do that now, right?
You need to carry the license. We need to carry the license. You don't. It's like when you get a concealed carry, you're like, I can hide this, and then just whip it out of nowhere, and people don't see it coming. That's where you're at now. You're
exactly.
Like, so anyways, I just wanted to preach this week about the importance of burpees!
So anyway,
gentle with my microphone.
I'm sorry.
I'm just excited about that. I'm excited to I don't know, to be an official coach.
What is an L1 certification?
All right, so an L1 certification is the entry level into just becoming like a CrossFit coach. There are like, from what I understand, there are 4 generic certifications, and they all build upon each other. This one is like. The master is like the philosophy and the foundations and the basic moves of CrossFit. Like I've been studying this for like the last 3 months, trying to like understand everything. So you get your certification, and what happens is that you are now like a representative of CrossFit, like you're part of the affiliation. Like my name will go on some like official board saying like, yeah, he's like a coach if you ever need.
What shape is that board?
It's octagon.
It's not triangular.
No.
Do you have to sign more people up to be L1 coaches before you can be an L2?
Actually, I was going to ask you guys about that.
3 L1s underneath him, he becomes an L2.
Exactly.
How much Tupperware do I get out of this?
Listeners, if you guys...
Do you sell doTERRA?
I'm the number one
Can I buy a
recruiter.
knife from you?
I'm the number one recruiter for our current gym. If I get one more person, I get a toaster. So if anybody wants to join, just tell them that Andrew sent you from No One Asked You, and I get a toaster.
Dude, well, that's killer that you'll be please, no. That's killer that you're going to be like coaching or that kind of a thing, though.
But okay, yeah, all jokes aside, like it's I'm excited because it's like it's certified by the same people who do a bunch of like personal training stuff.
Yeah.
So the national whatever. So anyway, I've been playing around with the idea of becoming a personal trainer for the last year or so. My friend Dave, he had actually talked me into becoming a personal trainer by getting my L1 certification and being certified through that first. And now I'm kind of stepping into that. I don't know. Just being a minister and being like a coach, like all of it to me is about like helping people be healthier and change their lives. And this has been a fun way to do that.
Do you get to put that on like your business cards now? Just like minister coach.
I should. Minister coach?
Minister coach. You're just like, what do you do? I show up to things and I'll coach you. Like you just wear like full on gym attire, but you have that Catholic band around your neck.
I might. You know what?
Get ready to serve
For you. And if I ever coach one of your guys' classes that you're attending, I'll wear like a collar.
Please.
Like, you know, I'm officially coaching when I'm wearing the collar. But when I'm off duty, I just take off the collar.
No, and it'd be great. But
keep the gym attire?
Yeah.
No, that'd be great. Somebody's like pushing themselves really hard. They hurt themselves. They start bleeding. You're like, that's his blood. And you just like, you just shove a piece of bread in their mouth. Body of Christ.
Would you like to partake in the Eucharist? Here we go. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, do these burpees. The power of Christ compels you.
Every time you do a wall ball shot, you have to do the Father, Son, Holy Spirit thing. The Dios Mio, whatever, the up, down, side to side, cross thing. Go down. Ba, 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 ba.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so hard. Like,
and on the 57th wall ball, they rose again. And again. And again.
All right, next week, we're going to be doing deadlifts. And while you do those, you need to recite the entire book of Psalms. You can't stop doing deadlifts until you finish Psalms.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to be here a while.
So, yeah, you know, those are giving me some good ideas for coaching.
But also, it's a 5-minute AMRAP. How many Psalms can you get in 5 minutes?
It sounds like the worst church in the world, other from Joel Osteen's.
Burn! Speaking of that, you guys ready to jump into the news?
Yeah, here's the thing.
All right.
It's time for a new segment on No One Asked You. Right now, we're going to break it down with 1 like equals 1 pray with Andrew Wynn. Like it up!
I'm excited that you wanted to lead with that. So, hey, listeners,
Get angry.
If you've been like paying attention,
Angrier.
I can't. I just need to start off. In the news in general right now, that we have just hurricanes and floods and fires all over this. Locally for us, right here in the Pacific Northwest, we've had actually one of my favorite hiking spots. 10,000 acres have been on fire because some punk kid was throwing fireworks in the woods.
Really? That's it?
That's what it was.
Dude, that kid.
Have you been to Punch Bowl Falls?
No.
Have you ever been there?
I know, it's all burnt up.
Yeah. So what it was some guy, like I've read
Is
3
that the
reports.
scene from Flashdance? No. Is that what's the one where I'm ruining the
All right,
reference.
so Eagle Creek Trail, some kid was out, and him and his buddies thought it'd be fun to light fireworks and throw them over the ridge, and it would hit the woods and start to cause smoke. It lit everything up on fire. So fast forward a couple of days, 10,000 acres up in flames. And that was the last report I saw. That's why, like around here in our neck of the woods,
Punch Bowl
it's been
Falls,
terrible.
which is
Breaking
which
news.
is like a great Northwest hike.
Yeah.
Multnomah Falls, like a really common
This is
tourist
just
destination.
east of Portland. If
Yeah,
anybody's
it's all
not
on
here.
fire. And it's now because of the embers. Like here in Longview, we've had ash raining on us.
Oh
for
yeah,
days now.
totally.
Breaking news: Human Joffrey ruins waterfall for everyone.
Oh no.
So in the news, we've had those fires, but there's also been fires in Montana and California. Hurricane, which one was it? Harvey in Texas, but now there's Hurricane
Iris.
Irma in Florida. But
That's
I
what I
just
said.
saw right before coming onto this show, I saw there's another hurricane right behind Irma that's coming for Florida as well.
There was 3. If you saw the map, there's
Yeah.
like 3 of them that were lined up to go into the Gulf Coast. There's like wham, wham, and wham. Like
So all this prompted something in me because
It's about to be like an 80s pop band.
Right. This week,
Wham.
I've been scrolling through Facebook and I see all these people posting like these memes that say like, "Hey, pray for Texas, pray for Washington and Oregon, Montana and California and just the world and stuff,
Jimmy
right?
John's.
And then Jimmy John's, right?
Pray for Jimmy John's.
And then I saw someone post another meme that took all those memes and says, hey, instead of praying, why don't you vote for a country or a government that actually believes in science? I wanted to talk about that.
Break it down.
Okay, and I talked to Josh because I know like we're not a religious podcast, but I do have a ministerial background, and I'm not here to push religion, but I did want to bring up an idea because actually what I appreciated about the spirit of that meme, right, is that like I really believe that whatever it is that you pray to, from my perspective, as I read as I study scripture and things like that, even Jesus talks about like prayer should lead us to action, right? Being in tune with a lot of things. So I don't think it's enough for us to like look at the horrific tragedies of Hurricane Harvey in Texas to know that there's so many people out on the street and be like, hey man, I'm just sending good vibes and prayers your way. That
You hippie piece of trash.
Yeah, honestly, that really irks me. Where I believe that
Hey,
prayer
man, we're
is
just sending good
focusing on
vibes
those
your
things.
way.
Like if okay,
What about money or food? Do you have any of that?
exactly. Like
Yeah,
if you.
like,
Hey,
do you know how to swing a hammer?
My bias is that I am a believer, right? But let me just say, like, if there is a God and He has equipped us for the ability to act and to help and share, then we should be doing those things to help. So when I see these memes and people saying like, "Hey, let's pray for this," I totally appreciate that people are taking the time to pray about these things. But I'm really hoping that those prayers are leading people to take action. There are so many things we could be doing right now. Just here locally here in Longview, we have a disaster relief training coming up at the end of this month. What that means is there's an organization that takes civilians like us and they train people to go into disaster zones to help rebuild homes, to feed people who are without meals, right? Because they're outplaced. They can also go and they bring like shower units and laundry units and rebuilding things. They clean up mud and they take out like trees that have fell over the roads. Like they take chainsaw units. Like they train people to do these things. You can be a part of this stuff. So if you hold on, I don't want you to be surprised. This is a religious organization that does disaster relief. So if you are compelled to pray and to help and to do something, I really feel like we should be a part of these things instead of just talking about it. And if you aren't like religious, there are plenty of other opportunities to do so. Right? Red Leaf, our local coffee shop, did something. Josh, do you remember?
yeah. They loaded up a truck with a bunch of food, supplies, and they're heading down to Texas.
Yeah. Right now, there are like, Texas. I read in an article that they are about to open up their doors to civilian help because it's such a massive undertaking that they realize, like, listen, typically, like a couple years ago, we had those fires in Omak here in the Washington State, and they didn't want civilians coming in because you would just get in the way, which makes sense, right? There's a bunch of trained people. You don't want to get in their way.
That's the religious organization that says that, like, and there's a lot of people that say that too, but like the religious one you're talking about, they would even say like, listen, in order to be able in the future to come and help us, you need to attend these trainings first.
Yes. And so, but here, the tragedies that are happening across the United States right now, they're so big that they're opening up their doors for anybody to come in and just help.
So what you're just saying too is, like, from your perspective, you just see a lot of people who are saying one thing, using social media to be kind of like a slacktivist, not do anything, while there are a lot of things that could be done. I don't want to accuse anybody of that because I guess the context for my vendetta, I guess, is that I saw a friend of mine post this thing like, hey, instead of praying, why don't we vote for a government that actually believes in science? Then someone else within, so that was a friend of mine that's not very religious, and that's fine, I get that. Then I have a friend who is he's a part of my church, and then they got into this debate about like, well, it's hard for me to believe that there's the government has control over like the weather and all this, and they went into this whole thing. Oh,
I'm like,
do they?
Well, maybe I
Can
don't
jet
know.
fuel melt steel beams?
But
Wake up, sheeple!
But I feel like the incentive behind it is like, hey, well, at least what I got when I'm reading memes like this, like, hey, instead of just praying, I'm really hoping your praying leads to actions. Because if there is, I believe that there is a God. And if you don't, that's fine. But like, I believe if there is a God and He's given us the abilities to serve and to do, then why not do? Right? I think praying gets us in tune with His love. And if He's a loving God, He's going to use us to go and help and serve other people. And that's that's kind of what I'm saying here.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And like coming from the perspective of somebody who's, it's admirable, both of you guys being believers and like looking at this situation and going like, how can we actually help? You know what I mean? Like, what can we actually do rather than the idea that if I stand back and just kind of hope and, like nothing will happen. Like, I appreciate that because like just even from a general standpoint, people should have like the human decency to go like, what can I do to change things rather than if I hope eventually something will change. It applies to your whole life no matter what you're doing.
Can I share one story? It shouldn't take too long.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to step back because I wanted to address the people who are like, hey, there are professionals who go and they do this. There are different organizations like the Red Cross who you can volunteer with, and the Red Cross does their work, right? But there are some people who don't want to do anything because they feel like, oh, there are already professionals who take care of this. Let me tell you a story. So I mentioned earlier the OMAC fires. Do you guys remember the OMAC fires?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so...
No, I don't.
Like 3 or 4 years ago, like half the state of Washington was on fire.
Oh, fires. I thought you said fighters.
The statistic was literally like 2/3 of the state of Washington was
it was
on fire.
I remember that,
crazy.
yeah.
So there were a bunch of firefighters being sent over to help fight these fires and all these things like that. And through our religious organization, through disaster relief, they said, hey, unless you're trained, we don't want you here. But if you can help bring supplies, we will accept that. So a network of churches here in our home city, Longview, they rallied together, and we went and like transported, I think it was like 10,000 things of like water.
It was like a whole moving truck and then like 2 other full trailers. It was crazy.
It was crazy.
How people came together.
I got to be part of the delivery crew to go do this. It was breathtaking to just see. People talk crap about my hometown all the time, but I've seen my city come together to help and do amazing things. Longview, Washington.
Oh, I thought. Okay.
Yeah, well, people talk crap about Longview
my
all
bad.
the time.
I don't know why I thought you started in Seattle because that's where your mom's at.
No, they moved up there. But anyway. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that we went and we delivered all this water to people who were without homes, who were hot, the firefighters who needed water, to families who were living in these camps because their homes were burnt down and all this stuff. And when I got to OMAC and I got to see like the devastation, one of the critiques or one of the things I found out was like the Red Cross was there. But the Red Cross, because they have to deal with so many issues, that they came and they had to take an assessment of the situation before they could actually let go of any supplies that could help. So from the representative that was there, I found out that it would have been a week or 2 weeks before they would have been able to drop off any supplies or food and water to the people who needed it. That means all the food and water that we took that trip, I mean, like, it wasn't for nothing, right? Because when I came back home, there were people who were like, why did we do this as a church? Why did we do this as a city? We're already paying these organizations to go do this stuff. Why don't we just trust them to do that? I'm like, that's all well and good. I get that. And that's why I'm like, I'm not trying to knock the Red Cross because I get it. Bureaucratic nightmares are everywhere.
Yeah.
But had we not acted, I think it would have been left to someone else to do. It wouldn't have been the Red Cross, the people that we thought it would have been someone else. But in this instance, because of our city, we stepped up to do something. It was us that provided water and food. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, if you are looking at these tragedies around the United States, around the world, and you're thinking to yourself, well, what am I going to do? There's already people taking care of it. I would challenge that attitude. And even if you are giving to the Red Cross, and I'm not trying to poo-poo them because they do help. They do. I'm just saying, like, if there are opportunities for you to take an immediate action, which there are here in Longview in general, there's a firefighting training happening at the end of this month. It's been broadcasted all over Facebook that people who don't have that background, they can step in, learn how to fight these fires, and help in the future. There's, for us, religious people. There are even non-religious people. You can do this too. Disaster relief training coming up, and you get sent all around the world to help with these disasters.
I think I'm going to go to this one because there was one I wanted to go to before, but like, I think it wound up getting canceled because of like lack of people.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to get trained to work on they call it the water truck. And it's literally a truck that pulls in and it's
the water tank?
No, it's not a tank. It's literally like one half of it is washer dryers.
And the other half,
of it is shower rooms. And it's literally they pull up and they open it up and you either work the washer dryer or like the shower rooms are split. Like one truck will be men, one
Right.
truck will be women, and your job, if you're on that side, is after a dude walks. Like I'm a dude, so I would obviously work the man's truck. As soon as because a lot of these people when their houses
That doesn't
burn down,
make any
I was like,
sense.
that doesn't that
Wait a
makes
second.
zero sense.
It's 2017.
No, but
Come on.
where's the fluid truck? But
Excuse me, I'm astral gendered. Where's my truck?
where's my truck? No, but after they would walk out,
Hashtag where's
I just
my truck?
walk in and I just hose down the shower because these people, especially like when their houses burn down and stuff, and there's still ashes sitting in the air, they're walking around and they'll go weeks without being able to take a basic shower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
that's
them just
insane.
to be able to clean themselves or even just clean their clothes is just huge. And so
Yeah.
those are always the trucks
Yeah.
I've always wanted to
So,
train on.
thanks for letting me kind of. I actually had an opinion on something. I want to share that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to push my religion. If anything, I'm just trying to push action. I think it's great that people pray. I would want you to. But I think there are plenty of opportunities. And if you don't know of any, like, I kind of laid some out, but honestly, like, they're being broadcasted everywhere
Yeah, just
to be able to be a part of
you just
something.
need to be paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's it. I'm done. And actually, after this, I got nothing else to say for the rest of the episode. So
Well, I
Well,
mean,
that was fun, guys. I guess we'll see you next week.
I think maybe we should just move on to our main topic this week. We're going to talk about a couple shows that came out over this last month. That
yeah.
we watched.
The
There was-
Tick.
and the Defenders.
Yes.
Both came out. Both are
Relatively
up
the
our
same time.
alley because they're superhero shows, and they're both made for a more modern audience in the way that one is like super it understand. The Tick is super self-deprecating. It understands it's a superhero show, but it understands how to make fun.
But
it
it's
makes
a
satire.
It's a
satire.
deconstruction of the genre.
And then you have the Defenders, which is very much a serious, we're trying our hardest.
And it's the culmination of
A bunch of Marvel
Yeah.
shows. So basically, we're going to talk about those for this week. I saw most of the Defenders. I didn't watch all of it. I kind of wanted to start this off with the idea of which one did you like more and why?
I wound up not being able to watch either show really, but I did wind up watching little clips from both of them, and just from what I was watching, I honestly liked the Tick a lot more. Like, I think the Tick succeeded in what it was trying to do more than the Defender succeeded in what it was trying to do.
So, yeah, and I watched The Tick, and it's hilarious. Like, I loved it. I watched, because I saw when Netflix did their pilot series, I watched the pilot for that. I was like, oh, that was pretty good. And then you watch the whole series, it's really actually great because, like, it focuses on the sidekick, and, like, the Tick is basically, like, It focuses on Arthur, and the idea it starts out with is that the Tick might not exist. It might just be that Arthur is, like, mentally not well, and he's imagining that the Tick is there.
And it's really interesting because I actually went and just before we recorded, I actually looked up the history of the Tick.
Yeah.
Right? Because this isn't something that Amazon just made up. Just
No,
The
it's
Tick's
been around for
since
a
the
while.
80s, yeah.
Do you know how it actually started, the actual Tick itself?
Yeah.
Technically, he broke out of, like, a mental hospital, yeah.
No. I'm talking about the actual character where he came from.
Oh.
yeah.
Not canon.
the
not in
creation
story.
of the character.
Where did he
the
come
creation
from?
of the character.
Yeah.
He was created as a mascot for a newspaper of a small chain of comic book stores in New England.
Oh, whoa.
And then there was like, yeah, because he was supposed to be satirical, talking about like, yes, honor, haha, like as kind of a semi joke, but it was just supposed to be this kind of semi joke mascot of this newsletter of, I can't remember what the name of the comic book store chain was. It was a small one in New England back in, like, I think it was the 80s they were saying. But then they were like, yeah, let's just flesh this out a little bit into like a 3-page black and white comic book, right? That was all that. And I like the idea that in the show, there's an idea that the Tick is a mental break of Arthur because in the original comic book, and you don't see this in any of the little shows that have kind of ran here and there, but in the original one, you're right. he broke out of a mental hospital, and the Tick is the one that's crazy.
And they don't actually and that's like one way it starts, but
Right.
in reality, there's no real origin story for the Tick.
Right, because he was just created as a joke.
And that's the great part about it. I love that they never go so far as to say where did he come from? Who is he? What's all this stuff? They're just no, he's the Tick. It doesn't matter.
There's even one storyline, because he always protects in the stories just the city, and they don't name it. It's just called the city.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this idea that in one of them, he just protects the city because he got tricked into it by the people at this bus station that he used to swear to protect, and he was just annoying them, so they tricked him to going to the city instead.
Yeah, that's the Patrick Warburton
Yeah.
live action of the Tick. Yeah.
No, he's... And the
All right,
series
well,
is...
Okay, yeah, let's talk about this, because I think... actually... It's going to be really defeating if we talk about the Tick and then talk about the Defenders.
We were just kind of talking about that for a second there. Basically, the idea was going to be which one did you like more and why?
Right.
And
well, I was going to say between the two of them, obviously, I think we all agree the Tick was better.
Yeah.
And just because I don't think we really want to talk about the Defenders. I think we really want to talk about the Tick. I think because I guess let me just lay this out for the Defenders really quick and just pay some lip service to it, because we said we would talk about it. It's okay. I think honestly, after watching the Defenders, I'm really annoyed by Iron Fist. You remember how earlier I was I had watched Iron Fist compared to all the other Defenders that were coming together, and I was like, man, there was something about this that's lame. Come to find out, it's the character himself.
yeah.
Even if you watch the choreography, it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. You have Daredevil doing his kung fu stuff. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. But then if you look in the background with Iron Fist, the actor who's supposed to be the immortal Iron
Sir
Fist.
Loras Tyrell.
Yeah. the one of the gay dude from Lord of the Rings. Or
Say his full name. And
Game of
show.
Thrones.
How dare you?
Finn Jones. God, sorry. I don't like the show. It's all right. Anyway, he just swings his arms around. He's also the youngest, and so he's super annoying. He's like a teenager. He has no concept of reality. The show together, I think it does well playing with all the characters, but I really feel like Iron Fist just ruins the whole thing for everybody. That's just how I feel. If you've liked all the Marvel Netflix shows, I think you'll enjoy this. But it's nothing that's incredibly groundbreaking. It's fun to see them come together.
Yeah, I was watching. Well, I mean, I was watching it, and it was the thing of I enjoyed Daredevil, and I enjoy that it had more of that feel of the original Daredevil, but it wasn't quite there. It still just kind of felt like they were doing the same thing again, where the villain is supposed to be somebody who's somewhat relatable. It's formulaic, and it feels like Marvel just does that.
So here's the thing. And I think this is why the Tick was better. If you're going to do a superhero thing, there has to be an element of fun to it, right? That's one of the reasons why Marvel is better than DC, because Marvel does a really good job of making every other movies fun at some capacity, correct? I would say, because DC takes this whole we're super serious and we have all this responsibility and no one likes me, but I'm trying to do the right thing all the time. So that's what we get into. But with Netflix, when you get into this, it's not really that fun. It's just super serial drama.
Yeah.
And it gets boring. So if it's going to be dramatic, then what you need to complement with is something visually stimulating. I think that's why Daredevil works, because you actually get good fight sequences. Mm-hmm. Even with the Punisher, you get some grotesque violence.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones was actually what made that series really well was David Tennant.
I just didn't dig it that much. I watched the first half of it. I'd been told it's really great. I went back to it, I finished it, and it was good, but it wasn't fantastic. No.
And I agree with you. I read somewhere that Jessica Jones is rated to be the best out of them. I don't agree with that. I think what makes Jessica Jones, again, is David Tennant, because you were more interested in his character. Honestly, the Purple Man, his character, David Tennant's character, is probably the most interesting Marvel villain we've seen so far. Mm-hmm. Other than that, once you take those two aside, then you look at Luke Cage. In Luke Cage, what saves it is just the musical numbers that happen almost at the end of every episode, because it's really the same thing over and over again. It's just this impenetrable guy walks into a warehouse, people shoot at him. He can't die, so he just starts fighting everybody. But it's not like kung fu. It's just street brawling. It gets boring. Iron Fist, it's just terrible choreography all the way around. It just wasn't good. So I don't know. I watch these things, but they're not to the same standard of a movie. But here's why I want to talk about the Tick. because I've realized, like, after us talking about so many of these movies and comic book things, like, I know, like, you've said this so many times, Josh, you're really burnt out with the comic book genre or the superhero genre.
Yeah.
And that is why I think The Tick is a breath of fresh air, because it is a deconstruction of the genre and it's just making fun of itself the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about for the Defenders. I think we can just talk about The Tick.
Okay.
So, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
So, what did you love about The Tick?
Well, I mean, I was kind of saying just that I liked the satire of it, that it was, you know, they took the genre and they kind of were super self-deprecating with it. Why don't you go?
Okay, well, so The Tick, I didn't grow up watching the origin stuff that Jackson you talked about. I thought I knew that stuff, but I didn't. I was first introduced to The Tick.
To be fair, I literally just looked it up on Wikipedia, so
yeah, I
didn't
do that
really
later.
watch it either.
But so I grew up watching The Tick, the cartoon series on Fox Kids. You know, on Saturday. You guys remember Fox Kids? Like that's where
Yeah,
you, like,
I saw a
X-Men
couple
animated series.
episodes of that. I didn't really watch it much, but I saw it some.
Yeah, I just love the idea because, like, I remember growing up, Taco Bell had like the Tick toys. You remember when Taco Bell had like kids meals?
Yeah.
You would go there and-
They
Gross,
don't now?
I don't think they do now. I quit buying kids meals when I was like in second grade
I
because I
just
realized
never
you
really
get a
ate
bigger
that much
burger.
Taco Bell.
So man, you look at me. I've eaten plenty of Taco Bell.
Look
in my
at me.
life.
I am the taco captain now.
So The Tick comes out. He's just like this guy who fights for truth, justice. But what's fun about it is so Fox had it, and then they had it again with the Patrick Warburton series, where they had Batman.
Yeah.
And it was just like a Batman, like a man dressed as but like not like Batman costume, but like he actually had like a nose and like a furry like mouth and everything. And he's like, I am Batman. And then there was like the American Maid. Yeah, that's what it was. American Maid, but made as an MAID. So she was like a cross between Captain America and Wonder Woman. But she was also like in a maid uniform, and it was like super patriotic. And she'd be like running, and she was like partners with Batman. And so that show did a really fun thing with puns and just played with language.
Yeah.
Super fun. So when you told me, you were the one, Josh, who told me about the Netflix series. I was really curious as to how they were going to ground this series, and it starts off really well with saying like this is a universe full of superheroes. Like what was that? The Flag 5 or
Yeah, basically it's the Flag 5. It was there are superheroes. It starts out with basically like these two guys in the middle of like Asia, like in like the 1300s or something.
yeah,
just,
like way before
like
Giants
shepherds,
Friends
just
or-
like
Oh,
watching
yeah.
their reindeer, and like just all of a sudden like this big meteor-looking thing falls from the sky, huge explosion. Oh, and they stand up, huge crater. Turns out it's like, oh hey, look, it's Superion, like a superhero, and it's like
Yeah.
the dawn of the first superhero.
That's right.
And like one of the guys looks at the other, and he's like, your reindeer are on fire. And the other's like, shit.
And what's the bad guy that he fights?
The Terror.
The Terror.
No, I love that.
I love that guy.
So here's the thing. Okay, I found my place. I'm back in.
Okay,
all right.
good.
Here's the thing. I love this because the whole first season is a season, and it's not, because they're like, oh, we're gonna make you get into this, but this is just a prequel to what's coming. They're like, is the Terror, like, it's Arthur, who's this character who's like neurotic, has some sort of mental illness. He's like breaking.
Well,
and
he's got severe PTSD.
yeah. Well,
From the best way possible. From the best
we'll get to that. We'll get to the reason why. But it starts out with this character who's super, like, really, like, just like Woody Allen-esque, like having
Yeah.
a bad time, and his sister's helping him out. Like, you know, I need to make sure you're doing all right. And all of a sudden, he's like trying to find the Terror for some reason, and he keeps seeing this blue superhero dude, and he's like, what's going on? And like the series presents it in a way where you're like, is he imagining the Tick? Are they going to do like that whole mind switcheroo thing where the Tick isn't real, and we're going to be like, what?
Is this the Sixth Sense? What
Yeah,
is this?
exactly. And it turns out, like, the longer you go into it, like, apparently his dad, not only was he a huge fan of the Flag 5, he loved his dad a ton, like his hero.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Terror throws the Flag 5.
Wait. Let's set it up. So there's a scene where little kid Arthur is having ice cream with his dad.
Yep.
Right? And his dad's like a pilot, and like you can tell, like it's like this perfect father-son relationship, like just the ideal American, like just like classic, like oh boy. And then the dad's like, oh son, you forgot, like you got some ice cream on your chin. Let me go back to the car and grab a napkin. And he like struts over to the car, like it's a good, beautiful, chipper day, like birds are chirping and everything. And then he goes to reach for his the door, and he looks over and just looks at his son and just smiles, like it's like a beautiful thing. All of a sudden he goes, what? And he looks up, and then you take it over, Josh.
The Terror literally throws Arthur's favorite superheroes, the Flag 5, into his dad, killing all of them.
Yeah.
At the same time.
A spaceship just crashes into Arthur's dad.
So he's trying to find out, because everybody's like, oh, the Terror died a long time ago. Didn't you see his teeth in that crater? Because Superior apparently punched him into a crater so hard it left his teeth in it.
Well, so, okay.
And I love that they kept going back to that.
Yeah. So what happens, though, is the Flag 5, that spaceship lands on Arthur's dad, and then they all come out of the spaceship, and they all start complaining, like, oh, I'm blind. I'm like, because he got blind somehow.
It was like syphilis.
Or something, yeah. He weaponized syphilis.
Weaponized syphilis.
Is what it was. But attacking their eyeballs. And then, so they're all freaking out, and then the Terror shows up with his henchmen, and then the Terror's all like, yeah, just shoot them all. Just shoot him. And just right in front of Arthur, he watches all his heroes. And what is established right before this scene is that Arthur wanted to be one of the Flag 5.
Yeah.
Like, he looked up to them. So these are his heroes. So his dad, his hero, dies. Then he sees his heroes, the most as vulnerable as they can be, just be shot up by the Terror. Then the Terror sees him. The Terror walks over to Arthur, looks at the kid and goes, what's in your ear, kid? What's in your ear? He goes to pull out like a magic trick, like pull out like a coin from you, pull out a coin out from behind his ear. He goes, what's behind your ear? Nothing. You got nothing. There's nothing between the ears.
It's so good.
And takes his ice cream and walks away.
I love it. It's so good. Like, just the Terror as a character is hilarious.
Not only is he a bad guy, he's also kind of a dick.
Yeah, no, I love it because it's like when like one of the characters Mrs. Lit finally finds out he's alive. He's like, what are you even doing? He's like, well, you know how I wanted to learn how to play the drums? I'll learn how to play the drums. I've been killed. You know how the bees are dying? That was me. It's like, wow, dick move. Yeah, I know.
So the whole plot of the show,
or like when Mrs. Lint, she's one of the villains. She's like shooting lightning at the Tick, and he's like, and like she's focusing really hard. She's got a fake eye, and it just pops out and shoots at him. The Tick just yells at Arthur, "Look out, chum! She shoots eyes!" Like, I had to pause the show because for some reason that just hit me the right way. Just it's like he's being shot at with lightning, but the thing he's lighting is like, oh no, an eyeball. Like, that's what I love about it. It's like in these stupid situations, it's just like, really? Like what overkill? Like, there's a robotic assassin guy in the show, and he's got a super smart like computer boat
played by Alan Tudyk.
And it turns out,
I'm excited about
like, they're just roommates. It's not that it's his boat, that's his computer. No, they're just roommates, and they hate each other. It's hilarious. He's just like, shut the hell up. And the boat's just like, how? It's like, I tried to call you. He's like, I didn't get it. He's like, of course you didn't.
It's like two really passive aggressive roommates that have to work together. Oh my gosh! So the plot of the show is that there are two main people. There's Superion, who's the original superhero.
Well, he's not really a main character.
Well, he's not. But what I'm saying is, in this universe,
sure.
And then there's the Terror, and these two have been warring for quite some time. Well, sometime after killing Arthur's dad, the Terror fakes his death, but everyone thinks he's genuinely dead. And so Arthur this whole time has been trying to prove that he's still alive.
Yeah, and people, I love. So there's a scene where he confronts Overkill, and Overkill's like, "I'm looking for like the Terror. I believe, I think he's alive." He's like, well, and like it turns out like he's like, "Well, I'm so and so on Reddit." He's like, "Really? I'm so and so on Reddit." He's like, "Oh wow, I wouldn't," because they're like on the same conspiracy things. He's like, "I found your posts on Reddit." It's so stupid.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, this show is just taking superpowered people, taking their intelligence and just really lowering it, but taking like the bad guy, right? And like he's just super relatable and fun. Like at the very end, the product placement is the absolute best. At the very end, Arthur, spoiler alert, Arthur has been captured by the Terror, but he doesn't know where he's at. And he wakes up with a mask over and he goes, what's happening? And you hear the Terror go, Alexa, play ominous music. And Alexa's like, playing ominous music now. And it starts playing like really like scary music. And then Arthur's like,
Even better, there's a scene like earlier on in the show that I didn't catch until you mentioned branding, where Ramses is sitting in the car. She's like, you're not even Egyptian. You're from Georgia. And he's like, it's about branding. Then he opens a life water and drinks from it. Like this show is like somehow stupid smart.
Because those two moments probably paid for the whole show.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, so like the plot is that Arthur's trying to find the Terror, and like there's this he gets this suit that belonged to these evil guys, and it's Arthur coming to terms with the idea that am I a superhero or not?
Destined to be a superhero.
Yeah, and the Tick's just like, it's your destiny, chum.
All right. Peter Serafinowicz, who's
so good as the Tick.
He's amazing as the Tick. Like, I love Patrick Warburton, but this is better.
Oh yeah,
This
he's
is way
fantastic.
better.
I love that. Like, doesn't the outfit change from the pilot to the second episode or something like that? So like, I don't, because there's this moment where like Arthur just goes like, you look different, and like the Tick just like going like, oh thanks, and just move on.
I think so. I'd have to watch it again, but all I was going to say is that with Peter Serafinowicz, I've only seen him in goofy things. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, he had a more serious role, right? He was one of
John Wick 2.
Was he in John Wick 2?
Yeah, he was in the hotel as the gun dude.
Oh, that's right. He was the guy who's like, what would you like for dinner? And he's like, here's a gun, here's a shotgun, That's Peter Serafinowicz. He's also in. He's the Duke in
Parks and Rec.
Or whatever royalty when Andy goes and that was both of them. Like I think because Andy was in Guardians of the Galaxy and so was Peter Serafinowicz. He guest starred, and that was just like a nod to the fact that he's leaving to go do Guardians for a couple months.
Yeah,
and he'll be back later.
I loved. I mean, like it's been brought up, I'm sure, but I just love that little nod and like. Parks and Rec, and it's like, Andy, you lost a lot of weight. What happened? He's like, oh, I just stopped drinking as much beer. It's like, what?
He's like, how much beer were you drinking?
I don't know.
A lot. So anyway, so the Tick is like super funny, and I think the reason why, at least it resonates with us, it's really meta.
Oh, it's so meta.
And
that's why
as good satire should be.
Yeah, it's super meta, and that's why like you appreciate the jokes, like with the branding jokes with Alexa, because if you understand that Amazon produced this,
yeah,
at the very end,
great.
The Amazon like Echo is the reason why like things are happening. Like that's hilarious.
No, I can't wait for the next season of this show. Like, it's just genuinely good.
Okay, and you brought that up. What they did is amazing. I believe there are only 6 episodes.
Yeah, and I want more.
This is season 1, 6 episodes. It leaves you wanting more really bad.
They told a good story and then left it.
Like the scene in the last episode where like the Tick is about to fight Overkill, and like the like what is it? Arthur's sister just walks through him and he's just like, "What? Arthur, are you okay?" And then it's like, "Do you still want to fight?" The Overkill's like, "The moment's
over."
Or just how the Tick keeps going like. He thinks Arthur murdered all those guys. Like, I saw how you took care of those guys back there. He's like, oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I thought we were going to have the murder talk.
Murder, guys. It's just not cool.
Yeah.
Murder is, you see, it's. I love that how he's just, it's just not cool.
It's just not cool, guys.
And it's funny because the Tick is supposed to be like this really wholesome character, like truth and justice.
There's like nothing there.
Yeah, and that's why like when he sees like Overkill, the character Overkill, who that's why he's called Overkill. He just overkills
murder,
and he's like, oh, murder. Oh, you don't want to be like this guy. And then there's a part of Overkill like because his character is so gruff that his boat roommate, he's like, hey, it's that scene where he's like, hey, I tried to call you. He's like, oh, I didn't get your call. He's like, yeah, okay. And he's sitting there. He's like, "Would you like me to warm up some? Was it canned ham?
It was faux ham.
Faux ham, yeah." And that's all he does. Like he basically just eats Spam out of the can. And he goes like, "The roommate, it's all you can have that on the plate." He's like, "Oh, just shut up! I'm just trying to watch
That's going to kill you eventually. It's just sugar and water, or it's just salt and water. He's like, shut the hell up, or whatever.
Oh, man. That show's pretty good. So I honestly, like, between the two, if you had to watch The Defenders or The Tick, honestly watch The Tick. I don't really feel like all the questions that are answered in The Defenders, I mean, you get them within like the last 3 episodes, so you could just skip to the last 3 episodes.
I would say if you have to choose between The Defenders and The Tick, you should watch Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
I disagree.
Game of Thrones.
I enjoyed The Tick more than I enjoyed the Game of Thrones.
I mean, like, that's just your opinion, man.
But the show is about my opinion, isn't it? Or about my opinion specifically.
Right. So that's what you think, huh? We're just your stoolies. I'm really happy with The Tick. I'm super glad we decided to talk about it because I feel like if you've got Amazon Prime, even if you don't, this is a great excuse to get it. Because
If you don't have Amazon Prime, why? Free 2-day shipping is fantastic.
I had free Amazon Prime for 2 straight years because of like college, and then like they were like, "Hey, in a month we're gonna renew you." I was like, "Just take my money."
Yeah. Actually, I had that in my show notes. This show helped me remind me that Amazon actually puts out decent content.
I've watched 5 seasons of Doctor Who in a month or something because of Amazon.
Yeah, so like when I got Amazon Prime, I got it because I was in college and I just needed the 2-day shipping, and it made. I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon.
We ranted about Amazon like 2 weeks ago. I think.
Did we?
Yeah, we talked about it
that was
at
a personal
length.
conversation.
No, we were on here talking about Amazon for a while.
Sometimes I don't know if we're having the conversations we have. It's here
Yeah,
or just like in real life.
It's always being recorded.
We're not
I
gonna-
wear a lav at all times.
That's right.
We're not going to browbeat you to get Amazon.
Okay.
You get it.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by them, but if you go to our affiliate
Wink.
link, it would help.
Remember, 1 like equals 1 subscribe.
And prayer, right? Is what we said earlier.
No, subscribe.
Oh, okay.
Subscribe only.
So anyway, hey, I wanted to get into some. I don't want to call it listener mail. I wanted to call it listener feedback.
I thought you were going to go listener female. I was going to smack you.
No.
Because it's a play on words.
Oh,
and
I
I'm
guess-
supposed to do those.
I wanted to talk about some listener female. Female. Is it? Can we do that?
You're probably going to want to stop the audio because that slap's going to sound really weird through those microphones. All
No,
right, what's the mail we got? What's the feedback?
No. So earlier this week, you told
I've
me,
got some
Josh,
feedback.
that one of your sisters has given us
one of my sisters. Shout out Emily. You're not alone.
She gave us some helpful feedback. Right? Do you remember what that was?
Don't eat on the podcast. Yeah, pretty much.
Tell me, like, so what happened? Like, did she just text you that? Or?
Apparently, she was upset that we started a low-key ASMR channel.
I'm going to scratch the microphone now.
I'm going to vomit very quietly
Into the microphone now.
Welcome to ASMR.
I think it was.
No, yeah, we were eating, like in an early episode, I was eating some food, and then you were eating an apple 2 weeks ago or something.
The last episode, as a joke, I had an apple like right here, right where my LaCroix are at the moment. And
LaCroix?
Yeah.
Or is it LaCroix?
it's LaCroix is what these are. It's hipster
Leroy?
water. Yeah. It's French, made in Michigan. But you guys were talking, and I didn't have anything to say, but I just wanted attention. Mm-hmm. So I took the apple and I got really close to the mic like this, and I just bit into the microphone.
It was upsetting.
Yeah, that's what she said. But I made a list of all the things we've eaten on the show so far.
Oh, geez.
So I have eaten the apple. At one point in time, I ate a box full of muchas gracias. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah. I've also, actually, now that I think about it, the majority of this is me eating. I had some sushi while we were here at one point in time.
What?
That was distracting. Actually, here's my dried up soy sauce from that time.
Oh man.
Hey, listeners, because you can't see this room, you're better than us. We can, and we feel bad.
There was, like, I think one of our...
Shame Bell lady from Game of Thrones.
One of our earliest episodes,
shame.
when my brother used to sit in on these, he brought us a box of Mike and Ike's.
Oh yeah, we were eating those.
And we would all like.
I think that was before I had a microphone.
I ate.
Yes, that is true.
I ate so many.
And we would like just keep passing. Like I just remember making so much noise, like throwing the box around. And I mean, that was almost like 4 or 5 months ago.
There's still some Mike and Ike's laying around.
No,
the boxes are still
the box
here.
is still here. No one ever takes out the
no.
trash in my office. I guess I should do that.
That's the sound of the box.
That's the sound of the box. They're not even real Mike and Ike's. It's the ice ones. I don't like these.
It says Mike and Ike on the box.
I know,
that means
but
it's real.
I like the.
How can our eyes be real if Mike and Ike's aren't?
I said ice, or whatever.
Baby.
All right, and then.
Oh no!
And then I think the guiltiest one for all of us was when my brother brought in
The U.S. government. That's the guiltiest one out of all of us.
the man in the back right there.
Open your eyes, sheeple.
No, remember that time we had Girl Scout cookies?
Yes.
Yes.
And we were trying to be subtle too. Like I remember, like I would take one and I would step away from the microphone.
And then I'd take like 8 and put them all in my mouth at once. I asked you.
So we've done
I have opinions.
we've done a lot of eating on the show. So Emily, thank you for your feedback. We're gonna try to dial back on eating, I guess.
You're
Can I still drink Red Bull while we're recording?
I'm drinking now. Is that okay?
yeah.
Is that if I just
Don't make that sound.
did that make a sound?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
That's almost as bad. Nobody likes just those wet mouth sounds.
Oh, okay. That's
Don't do it.
That's
No.
just me enjoying.
I'm sorry, it
an orange
hurts.
LaCroix.
Please stop. We're losing so many listeners.
Just make vomiting sounds and just.
So we also have some listener feedback as well from. Actually, it's the sisters.
Yeah, that was Josh's sister, and then my sister apparently marathoned them. She said in one of the texts, because I just got a string of texts
I
from
don't
her.
recommend anybody binging our podcast.
Well, she was going back and forth between our podcast and then like a Doctor Who podcast thing, and I could try to find some highlights, but I've only got 6% left on my phone. Let's see here. Oh, so I've discovered a channel on YouTube that plays the current season of Rick and Morty on a loop 24/7. I have regrets. That's the text.
Oh wow, I didn't know about this.
I have regrets is what it was.
Has she not seen Rick and Morty until we started talking about it? I feel like we've done the world a favor then. If we are helping people watch Rick and Morty,
I mean,
that's our mission in life.
Captain Britain is okay, but his sister is a million times cooler. Was something
Okay.
she
Britain
said.
has a sister?
See, no,
I still don't care.
Which
That
I
was
feel
back
like,
in the episode.
because I remember the episode that's from. I feel like also backs up our point, right?
Which was
Because we were talking about the French director who was just like, Captain America is just American propaganda.
Luc
We're like,
Besson.
look, they tried to do all this
Besson?
stuff. There's a Captain Britain.
Yeah.
And she says, listen, his sister's also a million times cooler, who is obviously probably somehow related to that storyline.
Just
But there's
the
just other
queen.
examples of it, right?
Yeah.
There's just other examples of
yeah.
it.
So Luc Besson, you could shut up, you French guy.
Shut your
let's
French
see-
mouth.
Let's see if I can find it.
So, shut the French door.
There is nowhere legal I can watch Futurama without buying it, by the way. Amazon sells it by the episode.
What? Okay, so here's the thing. Netflix, they did something sneaky. It's still available on Netflix, but you can only watch the seasons that were produced by Comedy Central.
Yeah, Fox apparently is very unfriendly with streaming. I was reading today on Reddit. I don't think you can get a lot of other things on there either. Fox just doesn't like streaming services.
That's stupid. I don't understand. Like, they have so many failed shows. Like, why is Arrested Development still on Netflix then?
I don't know.
That's okay, Fox.
Fox you.
Oh, and Anna says she's mad at you, Andrew,
Okay, me.
for making her want to watch Futurama before the new quarter of school starts.
Discipline.
No, I just feel like that makes your life better. Futurama
It does.
is worth it.
I think so. That's like, okay, I remember like finals week at my senior year of college, I discovered the show Lost. That was not.
Uh-oh.
That was not a good.
I've
That's
never
not
seen
good
it.
at all.
No. And then the year before that, during finals week, I remember I discovered Heroes, and that was back when Heroes was good.
Real bad.
Oh, man.
Real bad.
So no, like Anna, I guess I just outed your name, but I get your pain.
I already said it.
Oh, okay. I get your pain. Sorry about that, but at the same time, I'm not sorry about that. I made it work. I'm sure you made it work.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
So yeah, I mean that's some personal interactions. I appreciate people reaching out to us. Actually, I want to shout out to Aaron, right? Your
Yeah, my
buddy.
friend Aaron.
Yeah. So Aaron, for temporarily apparently, because you just told me today,
Yeah.
put up our podcast on YouTube. Now, in the past, I think we shied away from that because we thought YouTube typically has like short form.
I brought it up,
Videos.
and
Yeah.
I pointed out Joe Rogan does that kind of thing. But
Yeah, some
you
people
know,
post them.
Yeah. So he posted our last episode, which was about an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
And it got like within like 3 or 4 days it was up. It got like 110 views.
Yeah.
And that was pretty solid. And then so I commented, it's like, hey, man, you got my attention. I can definitely see that people like this kind of content on YouTube. So, Aaron, we are actually going, like tonight, once I get a chance, I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel, which specifically for our podcast. We're actually working on some skits and videos anyway.
Yeah, that we're going to be posting, but then we're also going to be posting my idea was to post the podcast there as well.
Yeah.
It's got to get a filter somehow to make it all work for video.
Right. So, Aaron, if you're listening to this, thank you very much. I understand you took it down because you felt awkward about that. Like, just so you know, like honestly, I think Josh and I talked about this. We thought it was really endearing and cool that you showed like that kind of support. That you went out of your way to show us something that would work.
No, for sure. He'd been talking to me about it. Like, you guys got to do it. You got to do it. And he finally was like, you know what? If they're not going to do it, I'm going to show them. And like, so I was at the game store the other night. He's like, I had to finally. And he's just giving me crap for it. Like, you guys finally figured it out. I was like, yep, I know. You're right.
So So hopefully by the time this episode is up, we'll also have that YouTube channel.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I completely agree. Like, there are people who just consume a lot of things through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just where they go for their new digital media. TV's dying, internet's taking over. Yeah.
Honestly, like
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
My brother and I use Netflix, but my brother gets all his content from YouTube. All of his content.
I get a lot of mine off of YouTube as well now.
Yeah. Like, I think we've been going about this like the wrong way. And I guess I kind of want to talk about the future of the podcast a little bit too. I mean, what time is that? We've got a little bit of time. I know when we set out to start this podcast, and I guess I'm just talking to our loyal 3 listeners. Because now we all I have John, you have your sister, and Travis.
No.
Wait.
Oh, you just did it again.
Sorry.
I have Travis.
Yeah, you
also
have
M.
Yeah.
And then
now you have your
also
sister,
Travis.
Jackson.
Yep.
And I guess when we started, I guess what I'm saying is when I remember it was the night we were playing Star Wars, and I had just been listening to, and I still do, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and specifically The Weekly Planet, and I was like, dude, I love comic book movies and all this stuff like that. So I thought it'd be cool to start a podcast based on that. And I know we've kind of tried to make that our niche, but I'm kind of feeling that I think we're going to try to branch out a little bit.
Yeah.
Just kind of keep things casual and just talk about a lot of things that interest us. So we're not going to be a specific media, or we're not going to be specifically comic book movies and comics, because I don't really remember the last time we talked about comics, other than we talked about Scarlet Spider.
It's tough.
Really briefly.
It's really tough.
Well, we talked a little bit about the Tick, too. Its origins was in comics.
Right, but I mean, like, Jackson, we brought you in on this. I remember especially when we were talking about Doctor Who. I mean, Doctor Who and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But you're not a comic book guy in general. Yeah.
I feel like
I don't think I've honestly ever read an actual comic book cover to cover. I don't think I ever
You need
have.
to leave the room. But
I feel like we started this with the intention of being niche to a degree. And I think we've kind of realized that isn't where we want to be.
right.
We want to cover things that are important to us. So
Just things that we think are funny and just things that just we want to share. So honestly, like at this moment in time, we are looking for suggestions. If you guys want to talk about, if you have topics for us to talk about, or what you want us to, I don't know, if you're wondering what we think about Hurricane Irma or bullying. Actually, I've been wanting to do something on 13 Reasons Why and talk about suicide.
that's a Netflix show, right?
Well, I think it was a book and then became a Netflix series. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of things that we could do. And then like, unlike the Mad Podcast, we're not middle-aged dads, so we don't have valid opinions on anything. So...
Oh, really? Because focus groups tend to disagree. age 18 to 30.
So I have just a few more months to be relevant.
Yeah, then you get to get out.
Yeah.
You can join the middle-aged dad.
Gosh,
Oh,
I'm
wait.
only
No, you
31
can't do
soon.
that either.
Oh, my life is almost over.
Yourself.
So anyway, with that said, if you have any suggestions for us, we are open to talk about anything. Because honestly, I think
honestly, no one asked you.
Thank you.
Though we are literally asking you right now.
But no one asked.
But no one asked us. So I guess what I'm saying is, I'm asking you to not ask us for our opinion.
Help me, help you. Help me, help you, help me.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and I think we're going to branch out to just our branding is just going to be 3 friends talking about.
It's just called Two Brothers.
it's just 2 brothers.
Rick and Morty reference. So I think that's the show, guys.
Yeah,
I think
I don't have
it.
anything else.
Yeah, Soundman Jackson.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can see all of our contact information on the episode description. We have Twitter, Facebook. We have an Instagram. We have an email. And hopefully by the
We're
time...
at noaypodcast for the email. Same for the Instagram. And on
Yep.
Facebook, we're just No One Asked You.
Yep. noapodcast@gmail.com.
Also, I found out recently that there are podcasts on Spotify, so we need to see about.
Yeah.
I've actually been trying to get us on Spotify. It's harder for some reason.
Is it a weird?
It's
I was talking to my friend Robert at
Yeah.
work, and he was letting me know like he'd listen to some obscure podcasts where it only gotten like 4 listens on Spotify. So I would imagine most people should be able to get on there.
I think it was just there was more hoops to jump through when I was working on it, but we'll
figure it out.
I'll revisit it. I think priority right now is the old YouTubes,
The old YouTubes.
and then from here we'll go on to the old Spotify. So all right, guys, have a good night, and I guess
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
last word.
Is this?
Look at these sounds.
Look at
Isn't
them.
they neat? Didn't you think our collection's complete? We've got microphones, JPEGs,
Oh, I thought you were actually
MP3s aplenty.
singing a real thing.
Yeah, I am. We've got podcast opinions
is this the No One Asked You
galore.
theme song?
Is this what it's gonna be?
Just something. I've got plenty. Something. I want more.
Are you okay?
Listen to these
I guess that's-
sounds. Isn't they neat?
Is that a satisfying sound check? I think we have all three of us speaking, so we can check to see.
Are
how
we done?
sound.
Let's go ahead. And
I guess I'll
stop.
hit the old stop button.
The old stop button.
right now.
Okay.